I came along at a time when, just after Adam Clayton Powell saw to it that folks could, black folks could work on 125th Street. And I remember Frank's Restaurant, where the waiters were white and wore gloves, because that's a very long time ago.
My fondest memory of 125th Street is going down on Saturday mornings to hear the street speakers. They would set up shop on a ladder and get up and discuss the happenings of the week and the attitudes that they wanted us to evince as far as Negro progress is concerned.
So it sets the tone not only for entertainment, but also for our history. You know, the Tree of Life on 125th Street was a famous bookstore where we could go and not just buy a book, but stay there for hours and hours just talking to Mr. Michaud, who owned the bookstore. And we could go in there and have like very, very long and deep, meaningful discussions about who we were and the value of being a black person.
Oh, 125th Street, my fondest memories. I think I really enjoy the vendors along 125th Street. Of course, the Apollo. Who cannot have a fond memory of the Apollo? Such an awesome place. So many talents, so many new icons in our cultural and our musical industry was found in that place. How can you not have Apollo as the #1 highlight of 125th Street?
My fondest memories of 125th Street would be the Apollo. Going to the Apollo to seeing James Brown and the Flames brings back a lot of memories. Didn't realize his artistry until later on in life, but have a lot of nice memories and really appreciate those times.
Fondest memory of 125th, there was just so much going on. Now we were on 135th, so it wasn't that far to go to 125th. Remember the Black Panthers had their store, the bookstore, 125th. So we'd go down there. That's where you got your red, black, and green button. That's where you got your hat. That's where they had books. They had a bookstore. And there's a lot of culture being talked about by those guys. So that was great. And also just the vibrance of the avenue. I know they built it up and they got fancy buildings there and they got the Adam Clayton Powell building. But believe it or not, when it was just sort of the small village of Harlem, it was probably more vibrant then than it is now because the people were what made it that way. Nobody was putting on airs. People were just living their lives. There were very colorful people out there. There was all sorts of things going on, but it was just a place where you could hang out. You had, of course, the Apollo. You had the movie theater next to the Apollo, where I snuck in, because I was not old enough to go in and see Sweet Sweetback and his badass son. Me and a friend snuck in, saw a great show, never forget it. Cotton Comes to Harlem. That's at that movie theater. So 125th Street, I didn't have to go down to 42nd or 34th. I just walked 10 blocks and have all the entertainment I needed in a community that I felt safe in.
My fondest memories of 125th Street was going to my first concert in the Apollo Theater. It was actually a Bill Cosby show, which I begged my parents to let me go to. Well, after a while, they relinquished, and they let me go to it, accompanied by my mother. First time in the Apollo, never forget it. Show was outstanding, the memory everlasting.
Actually, my finest memory of 125th Street is actually more recent history. It's like in the 80s when Harlem Week used to take place on 125th Street, and you'd have martial arts acts, music, live festival, vendors. And so that's one of my greatest memories, just the camaraderie that you would see in Harlem. Everybody from all over Harlem coming together.
I remember when because we grew up on 135th Street, So going down 125th Street was better than going down to 42nd Street, better than going down to 34th Street. When you took that trip to Bloomstein's, you knew you were getting your clothes for the next school season. And the big deal was when we went to the Apollo Theater, because I think we could, for 50 cents, we could go see a whole Motown review show, Stevie Wonder, Gladys Knight, Temptations, The Miracles, and then you get a movie in between shows, and then they would come back again with different acts. So 125th Street was the epicenter, if you will, of the greatest community on the face of this earth.